KT, though, they may have just shaken their sillies out in game number 1 and figured things out for the second game. The thing is, I feel like this whole series, KT have been drafting a level above DK. That's what we're going to have to see shift here for DPLUS here if they do want to make it to that Legend group.
Something I'll say, though, a lot of great picks for KT are off the table. You know, you look at the fact that the Wukong is gone for Cuz, the undefeated Rise is gone for BDD, his Azir is gone, the Sion and the Rumble gone for Perfect. I feel like the top side of KT lost access to a lot of picks they'd really love to have on hand. We do get into the bans pretty quickly. We see the Yone going to remain a perma ban for DPLUS in this series, getting rid of the Yorick for Perfect as well, and the Kalista staying a ban once the Talia Poppy taken off the cards. Pantheon coming through as a ban again. Xin Pantheon by full respect towards Lucid, but that does mean that Gwen is available. And remember, Rumble now off the cards. Jace is an option though, if they want to pick that into the Gwen, but we haven't seen too much Jace priority so far this series.
Yeah, not from Perfect as well throughout the season. At the same time, there are certainly some players where you're like, well, let's not give him the Jace. It's not necessarily Perfect that comes to mind at the top of that list. Giving away Gwen is a big risk. And KT, they knew this was going to be the first pick. What is the answer? That's what I'm looking forward to, as the Victor doesn't necessarily scream, no more Gwen. Certainly pretty Arcane vibe, though. That's pretty cool. Maybe it's Victor Jace for the true Arcane comp.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they were friends in the lore originally, but by the end of the series, well, we shouldn't spoil, you know.
Yeah, because some people haven't seen it.
Yeah, you know, certain people who aren't here today, for good reason.
Yeah.
As they haven't seen it.
Yeah, largely because of this Game 3, where we're going to lock in Arcane-themed champions. Looking forward to the Caitlyn AD carry. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and there it is.
So, you know, a matchup that does favor the Jace in the top lane, where you do want to keep that Gwen down. Both these champions have received nerfs since we saw them at the start of the season. And the Victor, definitely a pick with a good amount of priority as we get late in the series, more mids taken away. But the Senna Naught coming through. Really strong bot lane duo. We've seen Senna consistently banned in the second rotation. DPLUS looking to pick it up here. What will the response be from KT? Do they pick an AD carry now to match into it before options are banned away?
It's an interesting one. I think Braum value is certainly pretty high as well.
Oh my god.
Full Arcane. It's actually happening.
Arcane?
Okay, what are the rest of the options? Warwick jungle? That has to happen. Vi's banned, so she can't go somewhere. Don't know whether she's the best support, but she's banned every game. We never really know. Maybe she's...
Jinx support?
Jinx support is not a thing. I did consider that one.
Make it a thing.
I mean, you could make it a thing. Warwick support. He could just play multiple roles. Echo support, surely.
Yeah, I mean, that makes
Echo jungle Warwick support. Heimerdinger! Caitlyn Heimer!
True, that's actually so much better than anything we said. Really.
What was I thinking?
Man, it was right in front of us.
Oh, the whole time. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe they actually just picked 3 Arcane.
Guys,
so we're talking about it.
Did anyone tell KT we're playing League of Legends and not TFT? Because
oh, the 5-stack Arcane. I wonder what the buff you get
also,
is.
DPLUS are going for this like Shadow Isles vibe sort of composition.
Oh yeah, true.
You know, I mean, I know Nautilus is like tilt over, but he's got the
Bilgewater. Come on, I read you that lore.
But he's got the vibe of the sort of, you know.
Yeah, no, he definitely like Deep Sea as well as Mistlands. Yeah, it's like that. The Shadow Isles. That's the same sort of vibe. All right, couple of junglers, 2 tanky ones being taken away here by DK. And Cuz, the only option left is Warwick. Or Echo Jungle, if he wants to. That is fine too. Jarvan, we didn't see him yet. Maybe this is a spoiler for the next season.
Jarvan was not in Arcane, guys. I can confirm that.
He was not in Arcane.
Protocol, if he was here, could not confirm that because he didn't watch Season 2 of Arcane. For all he knows, Jarvan could have been in it, so...
Hey, actually, that's a really good point. So we could just say that he was in it. Then those like Chronicler would be like, wow, I can't wait to see Jarvan in Season 2. That's going to be sick. Nocturne.
So Chronicler might think this is still an Arcane comp, but he wouldn't be the wiser. So yeah, let's just continue that.
Yeah, there it is. Heimerdinger is still an option, as Peter could play Beryl's signature champion from one of his world championships.
Is continuing Shadow Isles vibes.
Annie is certainly pretty sinister.
It is. This is like the sinister vibe, right?
Yeah.
I think for DPLUS, that's a sinister composition.
Oh god, we're not doing it again, are we? When Lehens locked this in, we didn't like it, but it did win.
Peter did say, "Oh my god." Okay, this is really important. Peter was co-streaming that. Okay, I think the Brom's better. I think the Brom's better.
Goodness.
But Peter was co-streaming when Lehens played Morg.
Yeah.
And it popped up.
Oh,
and
Tom Kench.
It said the last player to play Morgana was Peter, and he lost. And he said, and then when Lehens won, he said, "I'm not that guy. Lehens is that guy." and he says, "You know what? I'm not that guy. I'm gonna play Tom Kench." A lot of safety from it.
He did. Represented by Amumu there. And DPLUS, having a look, I haven't actually really considered these compositions. I'm going to be honest with you, Orcs. I was mainly focused on the Arcane situation, but I feel like DPLUS is going to be very happy with how this one went. However, there is a lot of lane control here for KT. Let's see whether the red side can come out on top, or whether it's DK going all the way. Oh my god. I haven't heard. Oh, we are. All right, we are just rumbling. That is so much damage. Peter knocking them all into the sky as Shiu's joining in. Beryl running away. He walked back. Why did you walk back, Beryl? Oh my goodness. All right, well, that's a pretty. That's a way to get into the game.
Of course.
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Who would have expected any difference?
Do you know what they were talking about in chat moments ago? Enjoying ARAM. And that was guys, basically what we just saw.
So, I don't know, you know when we used to have IF and ARIF, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know if you know this, but the etiquette in those modes was for everyone to go top lane level 1 and fight, right?
Well, that's what we're doing.
It was just the etiquette. And sometimes your comp wasn't good at that, but you still did it anyway because it was polite. Right? And you would lose, and it would feel bad, but
and this is from the Englishman. This is from the Englishman.
It's just good manners.
Cricket is all about manners.
Exactly.
Okay, that is what he's been brought up on.
And look, right? Now Perfect has a kill, and he bought boots, and that feels bad for Shiwu. But it would have been very rude if he wasn't to show up top lane for that level 1 fight. And I respect DPLUS for doing so.
Yeah. Now, Peter and Dr. I'm going to see whether they can put the pressure onto this center lane. And of course, right now, Caitlyn has an absolute lane range advantage. Aiming, after he stacks this thing up a little bit, he will be the one with a range advantage. It'll take a few stacks, though.
Yeah.
It's like 100 plus, I think, is probably what you'd need to be able to match that of a Caitlyn.
I mean, it's like you start at like 600 for aiming, and Caitlyn's 650, so it doesn't take that much. But the problem is, it's just Caitlyn has so much damage on her autos, like when you have a headshot, and you kind of have to go like auto Q and then back away. It's okay to trade into it, but the problem is, like, if you go auto Q, that's your trade as a center, right? And Caitlyn could just keep autoing you, and as you run away, she's autoing you, and you can't go long trades on a center early. And you kind of need, like, to get later in the game before you can go, like, up at a Caitlyn's face.
Yeah.
But I think the way the drafts have kind of panned out, is like KT have this, like, longer range, more poke-focused composition, and DPLUS are like, let's kill that. And the Tom Kench is kind of like that piece of like, please don't.
Yeah, it's also an incredible anti-Nocturne tool.
Yes.
If you know where Lucid's going, you can just gobble him up.
Yeah, yeah. But it does mean I feel like the Tom Kench, you know, the Braum would have been like, it wouldn't have done much against the Nocturne in the, compared to like the Tom Kench, but, you know, would have given a bit more, I feel, pressure in the all-in in the bot lane. And the Morgana, I think really just, I don't think that champion does that much, but at least to the 2v2 with the Caitlyn, there's a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
And you would have probably won lane harder, but... Oh, man.
Yeah, gonna get knocked up as Peter's going in. This is a man on a mission right now. He wants Legend Group, and he doesn't want to waste any time, as Cuz in this brush, Jarvan has been a champion that Cuz has absolutely loved in the past.
Yep.
We know this guy is a very aggressive jungler, and Jarvan is like the king of level 3 ganks, right? So that's why he's sitting in that brush. Is a level up. But this time, he manages to get himself a Rift Scuttler, and it's nowhere near as dire as it was in game number 1, which is what we're going to be comparing this to a lot, given the fact that this is the sides they were on.
You know, with the Victor as well, you jump on someone, you get that initial kill for the Victor, the Arcane Storm goes crazy, and you can really take off in a team fight. I also want to mention that initial assist you get those extra stacks for the Victor. It actually makes a big difference early.
Oh dear, Peter going to be blocking some anchors here as Barrel's in a whole host of trouble. Remember, there's great health to go through here. Barrel, he could just be dead. The piercing darkness, not enough to keep him up. And Peter doesn't even press the button. He's able to get all of that health regen, and he is back to being good.
I feel like so much of the talking point for KT has been Cousin BDD on this roster. But I really feel like Peter has been such a hero for this team since he got brought up. And he is proving it right now. Finding the 2v2 kill on a Barrel, on a champion like Tahm Kench as well. You don't think of Tahm Kench, not for a long time, as a champion where you're finding kills in the 2v2, setting up engages, and yet here he is.
Yeah.
Gets the tongue lash for the slow, the W, makes sure he blocks the dredge line as well.
Everything went wrong for Barrel that could go wrong,
yeah.
I think, in that play.
Gets the stun, Dokdam has the lethal tempo stacked up.
와, 너무 고마워.
Yep, thank you very much, says says BDD.
It's got to feel good. You know, this is such a high-pressure series, so much on the line, and you just see your bot lane gets a 2v2 kill, a level 4, as Caitlyn Tahm Kench.
Doesn't feel great. And somehow, by 5.5 minutes, Barrel's managed to die twice, as the shock blast goes so far away, actually. Still.
I'd say, you know, Jay's not a pick we've seen Perfect lean towards too much. Still ahead in the lane, but did start it with Golden Touch. Oh no.
Oh dear, I've seen this one before, and the anchor goes entirely wide. He's gonna have to flash, because of course there is a Yordle snap trap in the way. Cupcake looking delicious, but not going to be helping Barrel out.
Golden seems a little panicked, you know. I think the dredge line he did as well earlier wasn't really going anywhere either, so
yeah.
He's not to be playing well into this matchup. Perfect will not connect with another Shock Blast though.
Shock Blasts are not his favorite part about Jace. As we can see here, as I've seen this play before, and I'm a little bit worried. Aiming, looking for a bit of a snare here as Cuz going to get hit by the anchor. Barrel still going in. He is not afraid of anything at all. As Showmaker flashes, gets the stun, and Dokdam! Why are we standing there, buddy? That's not what you want to be doing, and DK going to use this to head towards the Dragon. And we haven't spoken about the Nocturne that much in the context of the game, but that is one Paranoia, one kill.
Yep, good start there coming out from DPLUS. You know, we always talk about the Nocturne getting that value from that first ultimate. Honestly, not even sure if they absolutely needed it there. Showmaker making the play onto the Caitlyn.
Flash tibbers, though. I mean, Annie hasn't been out that long, so knowing about flash tibbers is not, or flash stuns is not really.
Yeah, give it a few years.
Yeah. We'll get used to it. No, Dokdam just found himself as the one that couldn't get away, unfortunately. He's just kind of milling about. Yeah, it was that extra walk forward that was just not what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. Pops the Paranoid to secure the kill. Make sure he doesn't get a chance to flash. But, yeah, DPLUS get the Dragon off the back of that, so they'll definitely take it. It is a Chemtech Dragon second, so none of the Chemtech soul. I'm focused up for game 3.
All right, that's going to even things out quite a bit. 600 gold is not enough here for KT at this stage of the game. If we talk about things like scaling and stuff like that, I feel like it's Victor versus Gwen as far as the top side of the map scaling options. And Caitlyn and Senna are both going to be feeling okay moving later and later into the game, although Senna, of course, scales that a little bit more infinitely than her opposition, but doesn't have a Tahm Kench. I feel like the Tahm Kench will allow Dokdam to do a lot more weird stuff once he has level 6, of course. So it might be that that last play not going to be quite as bad when Peter does ding that.
I think that's the thing. DPLUS comp is so committed just to dive in this backline, and as long as Peter is in a position to save someone, right, save that key target, like BDD is going to have his Zhonya's eventually. As long as you can save like Dokdam or Perfect, I think it's going to be really difficult for DPLUS to sort of turn things around. Like, you know, Nocturne and Annie can be kind of binary in how they need to function in these late game fights, and if you can't operate in that way, you're going to feel really bad.
Perfect, gonna boop shield away here. And I imagine a lot of what DK are going to be trying to do is getting the Devour cooldown before they start any of these fights. So positioning going to be important still for KT, because they can't just throw away that very important ability.
Yeah.
Peter gets engaged on. He's going to get that health bar back up. Aiming, pushing forward. See Barrel, you can feel that he wants to go in. As Anchor just going to land straight up onto Dr. Arm, and Dr. Arm just going to stand there. Does get a headshot, pushes him away. All right, Showmaker coming in once again as Cuz walks straight to the wall. Showmaker's health bar not exactly looking the best as the Shock Blast is going to connect. That was a good one there from Perfect, who's got his eye in now. And another Abyssal dive coming on through there from Peter. He's going to get the flash out from aiming. That's a huge deal here for the KT bottom lane that are in the top lane. We need a better name for that. The Duo? KT Duo?
Yeah, that works. Peter now level 6 as well, so an extra safety net. Barrel did have that available. We was trying to look for an angle, didn't find it. Perfect playing very aggressive. Lucid might be looking for something, but Cuz is in the brush, so I think they can win this.
Yeah, there's the knock-up, and to the skies is exactly where Perfect sends him. Well, teleport comes in from Peter, who has an unsealed spellbook, so he just wanted to come back to lane, and plates aplenty over to KT.
I mean, I said I think they can win this. I didn't think they would win it that quick.
Oh, Lucid has to flash.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I was thinking it'd be the bait-in play and let Lucid come in, turn it around. That was just the immediately hit him over the head with a hammer, and it was pretty effective.
Yeah.
Shibu goes down, they get some plates in. This Jace really starting to build up a lead, almost 1,000 at this point. Definitely feeling great. Flash down from Lucid as well, and KT feeling pretty positive about this game so far.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen Red Side with a lead in the early game as well, which is kind of crazy, as in goes Cuz, and out goes the Gwen.
Like, the insurance policy of the Tom Kench as well is going to be better.
The only people more enthusiastic than the KT coaching staff is everyone in LoL Park today, who are right now at the absolute edges of their seats. Because no one knows, even like especially with a good start to this game, I don't even know whether that's a good thing for KT.
Well, it's definitely better than a bad start to the game, I think, maybe.
I think too.
Probably, it should be, in theory.
I'm not confident. I'm not confident in my assessment of what is likely. However, I do know what is possible, and that is that both teams could win this game. 1.2 thousand gold is not anywhere near enough, and we're not going to get another Chemtech Soul. So Orcs, it turns out everything is fine now after 2 games. And we're going to get a different soul.
Yep.
I'm really hoping that it's a Cloud, because I really thought it was going to be a Cloud last game, and it wasn't.
It also makes sense thematically, like the Cloud blows away the Chemtech fumes.
Yeah, you know? There we go. That'd be perfect. So hopefully the game code has listened, and we'll just put in that RNG seed.
Yeah, we do see AD TPing back in. The Dragon going down pretty quickly, though. KT looking to move in.
Yeah, Cuz unseen for now, as they do have vision of this, exactly what's going on. Cuz just going to get on through, just walks in. That's not even the smite. That's BDD that takes the Dragon, and Dawning Shadow comes on through. Cuz is going to go down. The Tom Kench as well, and BDD has to flash to get himself out of there. Does manage to get to safety. 2 for the Dragon is going to come on through, and it's an Infernal Soul. So we're not too sad about it. Still some movement speed tech there with the cinders all over the ground. So it's not the end of the world.
Don't think it feels like too good of a play for KT there. In the end, 2 go down, so that gold lead they had vanishes. And it's just 1 Dragon in pocket for it. And to be honest, the fact they even got the Dragon was a bit of a flip in the end.
A bit?
Well, a lot of a flip.
Yeah,
you know, it was
Victor got it.
The fact that Victor got it. They go in for the play, it's actually interrupted by Barrel. And then here, they gobble up.
And then he goes straight back out the same way.
And they just don't quite have the damage to finish off Lucid, you know? BDD gets CC'd up, he flashes out. We don't get flashes used by Tom or Jarvan. And also, Peter died before he could get his grey health off, was CC'd. And Dockdown wasn't even really in position to follow up.
Oh, Peter's ghosted. And Showmaker is just going to stop him. There's a max range anchor. That should hold him in position here. He does manage to eat the grey health this time. And there's that flash you were talking about. Everything is used by Peter, but does get him to safety.
Right, he does have Spellbook, so
yeah,
he's just unlocked options.
Just get a new summoner spell, you know? And he will be able to get one relatively quickly as Showmaker getting harassed out here by BDD. Okay, plates, all of that money over to KT here. 625. But you can see the gold is not 600 in the lead for KT, despite a lot of other things being equal.
Yep. I will say KT at the moment, you know, one objective away from feats of strength. Do have 3 grubs in pocket as well, so
yep.
Despite the gold being even, a lot of things for them to feel good about. And they also have stacking items with the Rod of Ages stacking up for the Victor and the Yuntal stacking up for Caitlyn. A little bit of a power trough at the moment. So they aren't too sad about the fact things are a little slow for them right now.
Yeah. Perfect, wanting to get to those 2 items, like you're saying, just wanting to bide their time. KT have been a team that aren't necessarily that good biding their time. Often they will just fight if they feel like the thing looks like a good option, even if it's not necessarily based on their items. Pedal, please. As Perfect is just going to look to take the first turret. And that is going to be secured. There's not going to be a response, so that will be feats of strength over to KT. Some upgraded footwear going to come in. As now Dr. Arm wanting to get a bit of peace made through here. Let's see how it goes. It's pretty close.
With the shot. And return, we'll see some camps still in the way.
Yep. Yeah, Perfect and Cuz getting to work over there. And Perfect will be able to pick up a red buff of his own if he would like to. Right now just going to throw a shock blast into the nether. 800 gold the lead for KT. So as the dust settles, KT move into picking up a bit more of a lead. As Showmaker has a bit of a giggle. We'll be able to get this lane shoved. Pyroblast going to help out with that. Now looking for something to throw a bear at. As Dr. hits barrel, does get through the Titan's Wrath. As it's just vision being whittled down.
Dangerous to step up here. They do have vision of Lucid.
Ooh, man, that snap trap. Pretty close.
Okay, they have backup from the Victor here. Tom Kench as well, so should be able to clear this wave out. But damage done to the tower. You see second item picked up now for Perfect. He's the one with the big lead on the side of KT, so it's only 800 gold overall for KT.
Yep, that's a full transformation straight away as well. It's a big deal.
Yeah, so the Jace is really strong. Perfect, everything really in his hands at the moment in terms of power for this team. And I think setting him up for success, getting control for him, and really for this team as a whole. I feel like when setting up for objectives, if KT are the ones with vision control in the area, if they can sort of fire, you know, they can have the trap line set up, they can fire shock blasts at DPLUS, deny vision so you can't just ult in immediately. That is where KT are going to come out ahead. And then the other side of that, if we end up in a scenario where DPLUS, you know, have flank angles, denying vision, can get like Showmaker or She on a flank, that's when it's going to feel dangerous.
Yeah. Well, dust not settling yet. 800 going to be in it between these two, and I feel like here at 17.5 minutes, this is the closest it's been all series long. We might have a game with a little bit more back and forth than what we've seen prior, as BDD didn't really take damage there. That's all right. As I say that, in goes Cuz, out goes Cuz.
Barrel loses a lot of health.
Yeah.
Not good right before the objective. Like, he's half HP, and he doesn't really have sustain in his kit.
Yeah, just a Doran's Blade isn't going to be helping him out too much.
Yeah, probably has a little bit of lifesteal on the runes as well, but it'll take like more than this wave, and especially if he gets chunked out by aiming. Again, he has rapid fire cannon already. He can go for the Black Cleaver second, so
he really likes this build, I guess. As this is exactly what he built on Jhin in the last game. He hasn't built the Swifties yet. It's okay, Cuz throwing flags in. As Banana Brush, the consideration. Chu and BDD facing off, but the wave in control by BDD right now. Snap Trap's going down as the Rift Herald is going to park itself in mid. See whether this is going to get them. The turret will need more than a charge, but this turret is now extraordinarily low. Shelly will be taken out. They clear out the wave. That is very, very close to leaving, as aiming one more shot will probably do it. And he does have that one charged up. Not quite there just yet. And now Cuz moving on in just to take down the vision in this area. We'll see whether they do actually start this, as KT still trying to defend the skeleton that represents this turret right now. There it goes. Amy just walks over and takes it down. Dr. was in vision momentarily. Throws down the trap. There's the flash forward. Dr. is caught yet again. This time the Devour going to be there for him. as she was teleported in, and DK have taken control of the dragon. Another teleport to come through, PDD delivered, and another hook and a land from Beryl, and they just secure the Drake by pressing the light switch.
It's get completely routed. DK put the pressure on mid, take the tower. Doctam's low, forced away. Doesn't get an opportunity to pick up honey fruit or anything. He's low HP. They force the devour, and suddenly the pressure mounts onto KT, and they aren't able to contest the dragon. A nice pickup there for DPLUS.
Yep, and this is exactly what we were talking about, right? Like, get the devour cooldown by landing one of your abilities before the fight has broken out in earnest, and you're almost guaranteed to win, right? Then all of your tools actually do things. The Tahm Kench isn't able to find the same level of value as, oh dear, depth charge going to come on through as Doctam knocked up into the sky, does take the snare, but the rest of KT will turn up. Cataclysm into the backline, and there is the ace in the hole, aiming, keeping himself alive for so long, though finally he goes down, and KT do have enough in the tank. It's a double for perfect. And KT, they show DK that they can win fights too.
An overcommit from DPLUS, trying to catch Dectum, but he didn't use his flash there. Doctam still had that available, and they end up getting trapped in the ult from Cuz, end up falling prey to the Arcane Storm. The resets come in, the damage is there, and they will turn onto the Arakan.
Yep, and we can see the value, right? Like, this is a Cataclysm comp, right? You can layer so many circles. There's like a gravity field in there, there's the knock-up from the Tahm Kench's Abyssal Dive, and there's everything else. You can even put traps in there if you want to.
Yep.
And we saw Cuz able to get right into the backline with it.
Just a bit too far, and then, you know, aiming so squishy once he's trapped in there with no flash. The reset comes in, it just starts absolutely melting.
I mean, if you don't have flash, you're just dead, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's not only the fact that it's a huge fight, you get all these summoner spells from DPLUS, you get the Arakan, which is permanent stats in favor of KT and a bunch of XP. Gold lead's still close though, right? It's still dragon advantage for DPLUS. Perfect looking.
Needlework coming on through there as now Perfect could be in trouble. He boops back Lucid. There's the gobble. As Peter trying to keep his Jace alive, he gets a big old shield as PDD's teleported in. Lucid so incredibly low, but he flashes away. Cuz gets after him, but he leaves the rest of his team. And PDD, my God, the Arcane Storm damage is revolting. Doctam, I'm not sure what he's doing there, but he finds the Peacemaker, takes down the center, and Beryl didn't quite have the damage. Eventually, the Caitlyn goes down, but it's only she who left alive, and he doesn't have a lot of mana, and there is a big old Jarvan to take him out. Throws down a flag, knocks him up, takes him down, and there is the ace for KT. They have their eyes on the Legend group.
And BDD is just a raid boss in this situation. Peter getting so much value from the gobble here. Looks like Perfect's overextended, but he's saved for so long by the gobble. Repositioned over here. BDD shreds Showmaker, who goes for the ult. Manages to finish off the Jace, but the Arcane Storm does so much damage. Kills Showmaker. Ends up doing a ton of damage to aiming here as well. Doctam 1v2 against Beryl and aiming here. Does end up going down to the Nautilus, but BDD's there with a cleanup, and Cuz is able to finish off Shiwu. It feels so scattered. DPLUS feels so desperate to kill these targets, but it just takes too long.
Yeah.
And BDD is basically untouched the whole time it's going down.
And I don't know how, but Peter used 98% of his health bar and then walked into a brush and lived. Shiu just...
He kept hitting Qs.
Yeah, he couldn't face check.
He just kept hitting Qs, and you don't expect it, but you just hit a Q, you get a bit of health back, and he lives longer than you think. Yeah, I feel like Peter's mastery in this champion has just been kind of crazy so far this game.
He's looked fantastic on this pick. And we saw it was only a few days ago where Nongshim Peter came back to co-stream that match, where KT were delivered their opportunity to get into the Legend group without a game win from Nongshim. That wouldn't have been possible. And he was pretty enthusiastic about that particular series. He could have been just delivered straight in if it was a victory for Nongshim, but wasn't to be the case. As KT now looking for this mid lane, and they are in such a good position. I say with trepidation, ladies and gentlemen, obviously. This outer turret will be taken down. 18 seconds on the Drake. They will be able to even things out there, and this inner turret, DK, what are we going to be able to do about it? That's the question. They have Paranoia, they have Tibbers, flashes up for Showmaker as well.
the thing is, you know, BDD now has a Seeker's Arm Guard. You look at the summoner spells, BDD and Doctam both have no flashes, but they're coming up soon. And you still have that gobble on Peter. The windows are tight, Dragon is up. I feel like you need to make an engage soon. Do I think they win the fight? It's tough. I don't think it's an easy fight to win, but you have to go, or the game's just gonna slip away.
Yep. And especially into Fog of War, man, this is so hard. Beryl has to face check. Shiu on a decent angle here as the Gravity Well is on cooldown now. Showmaker goes in. They look for the Jarvan, but they don't find him. The Gobble is just too good. Beryl is down incredibly low. Cuz is in the backline now, and Perfect is going to join him. They trade 1-for-1 on the junglers, but Doctam, he's also dead. Perfect is so low. He's running as fast as he possibly can as the Annie is going to fall to the chase somehow as Perfect was running away. Aiming and Shiu, the last man standing, and Perfect and BDD are on the other side, but it's KT that get the Dragon.
KT able to pick that one up, and scrappy fight again, but it's so hard to find these engages. Trying to look for the victor, the Gobble comes in, and then ends up being scrappy in the aftermath. The fight's very split, but you see how they peel back to save the Caitlyn. It does mean some of the members end up going down in the rest of the fight, but they just don't have the gold, they don't have the momentum really to find favor in these fights, and so many low health bars, people like escaping only just feels so frustrating for DPLUS.
Perfect getting out there is just, that's highway robbery because he's got so much money on him, right? Like it's 600 gold if she was able to kill him, but he just wasn't able to extend that far into the darkness. And KT now double the kills of DK at this point in time, even on Drakes. So that is certainly good news. DK not worried about Soul Point or anything like that right now, but as you can see in the damage dealt, BDD and Perfect having a great game thus far. Aiming doing his very best to try and keep DK in it. He's got 3 items. They're pretty good ones as well. But still, this is going to be an uphill battle here for DPLUS Kia. Maybe a Paranoia onto BDD is going to be helping out as Peter going to join in. The Fear is going to connect, but BDD, it's so hard to get through him. The Arcane Storm goes down and Lucid will just get cataclysmed and taken out of the fight. The Gobble comes through yet again as BDD with that big shield now to return to this fight. Gravity Field making things difficult as Doctam this time is feeling a whole lot better, but the slows from the center are working. And there's Shiu able to cut down one. Can he get more? That's the question. Melee range with Doctam as he flashes away. Cuz now in so much trouble. BDD is on 1 health as she is not going to get hit by that ace in the hole. The Dawning Shadow is going backwards, and Perfect is just thinking that maybe he'll win the game.
Yeah, we see Aiming using the Dawning Shadow to keep himself alive from the burn. It's a fight 1 for DPLUS, but it's a 4v5. Base getting threatened. They're going to turn this into a Baron. They have to. They have to make this play happen. And DPLUS keeping this game alive.
These health bars are pretty low. Aiming, of course, has a blue buff, has the Piercing Darkness.
Oh wait,
if keep him alive.
Okay, Lucid's full HP. He's coming over with Smite.
Oh, these health bars are so low. Okay, he
One of the
full
TP.
The rest of DK, though, are basically dead. Oh God, this is...
Oh man.
No, what you want to see is the Paranoia just to try and lock this one down. They move forward, and that is the Smite for Lucid. That was way too close, DK.
And now the game is 1,000 gold between them once again. As you expect.
This is the game 3 that we wanted to see. As KT moved to a little bit more of a lead, 2,000 to the tune of as that inner turret goes down. Let's have a look at this one more time, as it looked like KT's response was exactly what they needed to do here, but the collapse from DK was too good.
They knew that there was no TP on the Jace, so this looks chaotic, and yes, Lucid goes in very early, but he needs to keep them accountable. And BDD, to keep him alive for so long, he's so hard to kill with the Gobble, he has Flash, he has a Seeker's Arm Guard, but eventually, over time, they're just doing enough damage, getting enough rotations of cooldowns. Doctam isn't getting enough damage down, and BDD's health is getting whittled down. Aiming, getting some damage in, getting some autos through. Doctam has to retreat. I think Aiming ideally would have ulted Doctam, but he was just ulting in a panic to try and keep his health up.
Just had to ult, as the anchor is going to go wide as we come back to live. The Dragon going to be up in 1 minute's time. Aiming, just looking to get rid of this outer turret towards the bottom side of the map. It's going to make this gold pretty much identical.
Aiming has 89 stacks. He's got a pretty solid amount of stacks. He's got IE. He's got good items right now on this center. He is strong.
He's going for 4th item Black Cleaver as well, which is kind of crazy. Shiu going to look for a little bit of free damage onto Perfect here, as KT felt like they had an angle. But Shiu with the needlework keeping himself alive, able to get over here as the rest of KT now going to back away towards this Drake. Soul point for either team if they're able to lock this one down. And this game, ladies and gentlemen, is basically even. Even based on the team's scaling options that they have as well, right? It's Senna versus Victor. Like, both of these teams scale pretty well into the later stages, but I feel like this Gwen is getting more and more difficult for KT to deal with. They haven't dealt with this full wave just yet. The Baron is still there for another minute.
I think as well, just look at Docdam's items and just, like, what are your feelings when you look at those?
Sad.
Yeah, you don't look at those and think, man, I'm intimidated, right? And then you look at aimings and you're like, oh boy, right? And I just think that's the issue right now, is that this Caitlyn is very underwhelming.
Yeah.
And I think leveraging aiming is how DPLUS are going to win this game. And they're actually ahead in gold now. Finally, just able to crest above. They do give over the Dragon to KT. Not good, not great. Giving that one over.
And it's
DPLUS.
Inhibitor traded for Inhibitors, because he's going to have to be the one that face checks this. That is a lot of value for the Shock Blast. As it gets DK out of the area. May as well fish for it. As KT now out onto the map once again. Their Inhibitor is going to be down for a bit longer than that of DK's. It's going to be respawning relatively soon.
But they're looking for Showmaker.
He does get towards his inner turret though. It should be all right. And Chiu going to be pushing out the wave in bot lane. So it's 1 minute 24 until the bot inhib does respawn. 4 minutes until that middle one does come back up. But mid inhibitors aren't necessarily the most valuable. Everyone tends to park in mid anyway.
Yeah, I will say though,
jostling for position. Is Peter going to be able to get himself out here?
She was enjoying this kind of free farm lane in the bot, right?
Yeah.
Just picking up waves here and getting really strong. Already he's level 17, which is only tied by BDD. He's kind of just farming up a storm here, having a comfortable time.
And the Gwen, even in the last fight, we were wondering what the heck they were going to do about him. And it turns out just lose the fight was the response. And maybe that is going to be the difference maker. Maybe it's all about Shu, this young player for DK. Maybe he is going to be the one that's going to be able to get them towards the Legend group.
Oh, there's Aiming's Black Cleaver.
Yeah, it's 4 items. That is a
100
very
souls as well.
boy.
He's just hit.
And Docdam's still on 3 items. It's Molder Reminder third as well, so not able to go for that third item. Infinity Edge felt like it was too late in the game. Needed armor penetration to stay relevant. And a 2,000 gold lead for the Senna. It's not something we're used to seeing. We're used to the jokes in Twitch chat, you know. That's not this Senna. She's just an AD carry. As Cuz looking for a little bit of a window here. Feels like he may have caught Beryl. Throws down the Cataclysm. It's a hard commit to this play as the Gobble does come through. And there is Lucid delivered into the back line. And the flag and drag gets Cuz to safety. BDD now having to deal with Shiu. He goes golden, but I don't think he has anywhere to go. Beryl is traded for the Victor. And DK will take that any day of the week.
That's not a good trade. I can say that for sure. No objective up right now to take, but you lose a flash on BDD. It does not feel good. We're going to see DPLUS pushing this wave, rotate up towards the top. Maybe look to take down this tier 2. So much committed from KT there just to try and take out Beryl. And honestly, they were lucky not to lose more in that situation.
Oh, yeah. Cuz trying to build tanky now, as we can see with that Spectre's Cowl, but look at this. BDD just gets closed in on it. This is what we were scared of. Like, what are you supposed to do about this Gwen?
Yeah, and it was just such a weird play. It just felt like they were thinking they could burst him down way quicker, and then Shiwu steps up, BDD's a little out of position, and there's safety net's already gone. You know, once the Gobble's unavailable, the stasis doesn't even save him. Cuz nearly goes down too. Things starting to feel volatile right now in this game.
Absolutely. Docdam finally has a BF sword, so getting one step closer towards doing relevant damage. Of course, 4 items feels really nice for a Caitlyn, but he's pretty behind the curve.
I think we saw earlier like how much impact BDD was having in these, what's it called? How much impact BDD was having in these fights.
Yep.
And I think DPLUS have just said,
ow. Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure it's about the top laners.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because Opportunity was just completed before, and I was like, oh yeah, what's that gonna do? That what we just saw. That's
yeah,
what it's gonna
that's a lot of damage. Well, I was gonna say BDD was having a lot of impact in this fight, and DPLUS are like, let's focus him down, not let him do that. But Perfect is also very relevant and an issue, so got to worry about him. The difference between those shot blasters hitting a frontliner and hitting aiming.
Oh, Anger gonna find Cuz here. He's not exactly an optimal target, and now Beryl in a lot of trouble. The Dawning Shadow flying forward, and DK looking to try and turn this into a fight, but the Nocturne's already dead. Shiu's done his job though. He's taken down Doc Armor's Beryl. It's just fighting Cuz in the backline. Peter finds BDD and keeps him alive. Perfect dives in on top, and KT have found the team fight off the back of Cuz and a triple kill.
The death time is so long, I think they can just end.
Oh my goodness, if this is the end of this game, that would be absurd as KT march down the mid lane. Looking to take this, they're at least going to be taking 2 inhibitors off this play. The Baron's up, it's Infernal Soul on the table as well, but KT are just going to look to end it right here, right now. Look to put themselves into the Legend group and get side selection in their matchup against DK on this Saturday in the road to MSI, and that's exactly what they're going to do. KT, they're your Legends today.
So hard fought. I feel like this team, there was